All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be working on this little bass I've been putting off for like the last 4 videos, and I figured while I'm doing all this grinding, why not read some of the scariest stories you guys have been sending in? I got a long one to start us off today. This one's from r/noseleap, and I'm not gonna lie, this one stuck with me for a couple of days after I read it, so buckle in. The title of the story is, "My grandma left me a box I was told to never open. I opened it." Yeah. Right off the bat, you already know how this one's going to go just from the title, but trust me, it's not where you think it's going. My grandma raised me. That's the first thing you should probably know going into this. My mom had me when she was 19, and she wasn't ready. She wasn't a bad person, but she wasn't ready. So by the time I was 4 years old, I was living full-time at my grandma's little brick house on the edge of town. She had this overgrown garden out back with tomatoes and these weird purple flowers I never knew the name of, and a porch that creaked in the same 3 spots no matter how you walked across it. That was my whole world growing up. Just me and her and that house. She was a quiet woman. I'll get that out of the way too. Most kids have grandmas who bake and tell stories and pinch your cheeks and all that. Mine wasn't really like that. She was kind. Don't get me wrong. She was the kindest person I've ever known, but she didn't talk a lot. And when she did talk, she had this way of looking past you, like she was checking on something just behind your shoulder. I thought it was just an old person thing for the longest time, like maybe her eyes were going on her. But it wasn't her eyes. Yeah, this is already creeping me out a little bit, not gonna lie. She had rules. A lot of rules, and she didn't really explain them. She just had them, and I followed them, because she was the only person who'd ever really taken care of me. No mirrors in the bedrooms, only in the bathroom and the hallway. We never ate after sundown without the porch light on. If you dropped something on the floor, you didn't pick it up until you'd counted to 3 out loud. And the big one, the one I'm going to get to a lot. We never, and I mean never, opened the closet under the stairs. She kept it locked with this old brass padlock, and she wore the key on a thin silver chain around her neck. I never saw her take that chain off, not once, not even when she was sick. I asked her about it once when I was maybe 7 or 8. I asked her what was in the closet, and she just looked at me, didn't say anything for what felt like a full minute. Then she said, "Some doors you don't open, baby. You just walk past them and let them be." And that was it. That was the whole answer. I never asked again. Okay, that's actually a really creepy thing for a grandma to say to a kid. Like, my grandma would just tell me what was in the closet. It was usually like Christmas presents or like a vacuum cleaner. I grew up, I went to the same elementary school as everyone else in the neighborhood. I made friends. I had sleepovers at other people's houses, but I didn't really have anyone over to ours. Not because grandma wouldn't have let me, but because the house just felt different. Kids would come over once, and then they wouldn't really want to come back. They never said why. They'd just kind of get quiet around dinner time and ask if their mom could pick them up early. I asked one of my friends about it years later, when we were both in high school. And he said the house always felt like someone else was in it. Like there was a 4th person in every room. He said when he was 8, he didn't have the words for it. But that's what he meant. He never came back over after that one sleepover. I remember one specific thing. I was maybe 9. I came down the stairs in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, and Grandma was sitting in the dark in the living room. Just sitting. The TV wasn't on. The lamp wasn't on. She was just sitting in her recliner facing the closet under the stairs. And when I got to the bottom of the steps, she didn't turn around or anything. She just said, very quietly, "Go back to bed, sweetheart. I'll bring you up a glass of water in a minute." Like she'd known I was coming. I went back upstairs. She brought me up a glass of water. She kissed me on the forehead and she said, "I'm sorry I scared you." And I said, "You didn't scare me, Grandma." And she just smiled at me, sad, and said, "Not yet." Bro, what? Like, what does that mean? Not yet? That is the most ominous thing you can possibly say to a child. Yeah, I think about that one a lot. I didn't know what it meant at the time. I do now. So time goes on. I graduate high school. I go to community college for 2 years and then transfer to a state school. I get a degree in graphic design, which is, useful as a paper hat. But whatever. I move out at 22. I get a little apartment about an hour and a half away. I'd come home every other weekend to see Grandma. She was getting older, but she was still sharp, still doing her crossword every morning, still wearing that key on the silver chain around her neck. When I was 26, she got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And, you know how that one goes. Pancreatic cancer it's basically a death sentence. They gave her 6 months. She got 8. I moved back home for the last 3. Just me and her in that little brick house, like when I was a kid, except now I was the one cooking and helping her in and out of the bath and reading to her at night. She liked old British mystery novels, Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers, that kind of thing. It's the week before she died. She had this really clear day. You know how sick people sometimes have one really clear day before the end? She was sitting up in bed and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, sit down. I need to tell you some things." And I sat down on the edge of the bed. She told me she was leaving me everything. The house, what little money she had, all of it. She told me her funeral instructions. She told me where the will was, where the deed to the house was, where her tax stuff was. She was so organized. And then, at the very end, she did this thing. She reached up and unclasped the chain from around her neck, and she handed me the key. The key to the closet under the stairs. I didn't know what to say. I just held it. It was warm from her skin. And she said, "There's a box in there, a wooden box, about the size of a shoebox. When I'm gone, that box is yours. But I need you to promise me something." And I said, "Anything, Grandma?" And she said, "Don't open it. Don't open it, ever. Don't show it to anybody. Don't take it out of the box it's in. Don't even shake it. You can put it on a shelf and forget about it. You can throw it in the river if you want, though I'd rather you didn't. But you cannot open it. Promise me." And I promised. Of course I promised. She was my grandma. She was dying. She could have asked me to walk on my hands across the country, and I would have said yes. I promised her. Yeah, I'm sorry, but my brain immediately, the second she said don't open it, my brain immediately is like, well, I'm absolutely opening it. Like I can't help it. Like I'd last maybe a week, maybe. She died 3 days later. In her sleep, I was in the chair next to the bed. I held her hand. I won't get into all that. The funeral was small. My mom showed up. We hadn't really talked in years. She cried more than I expected her to. After the funeral, after everyone left, after the casseroles started piling up in the fridge, I was alone in that house for the first time in my life. Really alone. And I had this key in my pocket. I went and stood in front of the closet under the stairs. I just stood there. For like 20 minutes. I didn't put the key in the lock. I didn't even take it out of my pocket. I just stood there looking at the door, and the whole time I had this weird feeling, like, I don't know how to describe it, like the air was thicker on that side of the room, like the closet was leaning toward me a little, like it was paying attention. I went and made myself a sandwich. I sat on the porch. I called my best friend from college and told him Grandma had died, even though he already knew. We talked for like 2 hours about nothing. And then it got dark, and I came back inside, and I put the key in the lock. The padlock clicked open like it had been waiting for me. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Don't open it. Don't open it. I'm not opening the box. I'm just opening the closet. I told myself that. I told myself that out loud, actually. I said it out loud in the empty house. I'm just opening the closet. I'm not opening the box. The closet was small, about the size of a coat closet. There was nothing in it but a single shelf at chest height, and on that shelf in the very middle, there was a wooden box. Just like she'd said, about the size of a shoebox. Dark wood, almost black, with these little carvings on the lid that looked like vines or maybe roots. It had a small brass latch on the front. No lock, just a latch. I picked it up. It was heavier than I expected. Like, surprisingly heavy. Like there was something solid inside that took up most of the space. And it was cold, like fridge cold, like it had been in a cooler. But the closet wasn't cold. The closet was the same temperature as the rest of the house. I closed the closet door. I locked it again, and I took the box upstairs to the guest bedroom, and I put it on the top shelf of the closet, way in the back, behind some old quilts. And I told myself I was never going to look at it again. Yeah, famous last words. For the first month it was easy. I was busy. I was sorting out Grandma's affairs. I was dealing with the lawyer. I was deciding whether to keep the house or sell it. I was going through her clothes, her photos, her recipe cards. I was crying a lot, honestly. There was a lot to do. The box was just a thing on a shelf. It wasn't even in my mind most of the time. But then I started having dreams. They weren't nightmares exactly. They were just weird. They were always the same. I'd be standing in the kitchen of Grandma's house. It would be daytime, sunny, normal, and I'd hear her humming from the living room. She used to hum this old song while she did the dishes. I never knew the name of it, and I'd walk into the living room, and she'd be sitting in her recliner with her back to me, facing the closet under the stairs, and I'd say, "Grandma," and she wouldn't turn around. She'd just say, very quietly, "Don't open it, baby. Please don't open it." And then I'd wake up. I had that dream maybe twice a week for the first 2 months. I'd wake up at like 3 in the morning with my heart pounding, and I'd just lie there in the dark and try to convince myself that grief makes people dream weird stuff, and it didn't mean anything. Yeah, no, that's not just grief. Like, I want to believe that's just grief, but that is a warning. My dude, I know that now. I didn't know that then. The other thing that started happening, and this was smaller, this was the kind of thing where you're not sure if you're imagining it. I'd put something down, my keys, my wallet, a coffee mug, and I'd come back 10 minutes later and it would be in a slightly different spot, not like across the room, not anywhere obvious, just like 2 inches to the left, or turned around, or upside down. Stuff that you could very easily explain by saying, "Oh, I just don't remember exactly where I put it." So I explained it that way for a long time. And then one night I came home from the grocery store and I'd left the kitchen light on when I left, and when I came back, it was off. Just the kitchen light. Every other light I'd left on was still on. And I stood in the kitchen with the bag of groceries in my hand, and I thought, very clearly, something is in the house with me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch with all the lights on, and I scrolled my phone until the sun came up. Okay, see, I would have moved out. I would have moved out that night. That is a go stay at a hotel situation. That is a call your mom situation. My mom and I weren't really speaking, so that wasn't an option. I almost did move out. I almost just locked up the house and went back to my apartment. But it was the middle of the month, and my lease back at the apartment was up, and I was supposed to be deciding whether to keep the house or sell it. And the responsible adult thing was to stay and figure it out, so I stayed. The next thing that happened, and this is when it really started to get to me, was about a week after the kitchen light. I was upstairs in the bathroom brushing my teeth before bed. The bathroom mirror is an old medicine cabinet style mirror, you know the kind, with the little shelves behind it. I was brushing my teeth, looking in the mirror, and I noticed that my reflection was a half-second behind me. It wasn't dramatic. My reflection wasn't waving when I was standing still. It was just, I'd move my arm, and the reflection would catch up half a beat too late. I stopped brushing. I just stood there. I raised my hand. The reflection raised its hand. But late, like a Skype call with bad lag. And then I looked at the reflection's eyes, and the reflection was looking at me, not looking at the spot where my eyes were in the mirror. Looking at me, through the mirror, like eye contact, real eye contact. And it smiled at me. Oh my God. Nope. I would have shattered that mirror. I would have moved to a different country. Like, I'm done. I dropped the toothbrush. When I looked back at the mirror, the reflection was just me again, brushing my teeth normally, except I wasn't brushing my teeth anymore. So the reflection stopped a half second after I did, and then it was just me, staring at me, with toothpaste foam on my chin, looking like I'd seen a ghost. Which I guess I had. Sort of. I covered the bathroom mirror with a towel that night. I covered the hallway mirror too. I went around the house, and I covered or turned around every reflective surface I could find. The TV, the microwave door, the little decorative mirror over the dining room table. I left only one mirror uncovered because I needed to be able to see myself in the morning to put on you know, basic stuff. And I covered that one before bed every single night. From then on, I started sleeping with the lights on. I started leaving the TV on, with the volume low, just to have noise. I started not going into certain rooms after dark. I wasn't even thinking about it consciously, I just stopped going in there. The dining room, the hallway upstairs near the guest room, the whole basement. My body wouldn't let me. Yeah, the body keeps the score, man. The body knows. It does. I held out for about 2 more weeks like that. And the whole time, I'm telling myself, this is just grief. This is just an old house. This is just my brain making stuff up because I miss her. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I said that to myself in the mirror every morning. The one mirror I didn't cover. I'm not crazy. And then, one morning, I said it, and the reflection said it back. But it said it a half second after I did, and it didn't move its mouth quite right. That was the morning I got the box down off the shelf. Oh no. No. I know. I broke my promise. I told you I was going to break my promise. The whole story is about me breaking my promise. I'm not proud of it. But you have to understand, by that point, I was losing it. I was losing my mind. I hadn't slept properly in a month. I was jumping at every sound. I was talking to myself. I was on the edge. And in my head, I had convinced myself that whatever was happening because of the box. But that maybe, if I just looked inside, I could figure out what it was, and then I could figure out how to fix it, or get rid of it, or, I don't know, do something. Anything. I sat on the floor of the guest bedroom with the box in my lap. I had the curtains open. It was the middle of the day. I had every light in the house on. I had a kitchen knife next to me on the floor, which, looking back, is hilarious because what was I going to do? Stab a ghost? But I had it anyway. It made me feel better. I unlatched the box. I lifted the lid. Okay. I'm holding my breath. I'm holding my breath right now. Inside the box, on a bed of dark red velvet, there were 5 things. The first thing was a stack of Polaroid photographs, maybe 20 of them, held together with a faded pink rubber band. The second thing was a small hairbrush, wooden handle, soft bristles. There was hair tangled in the bristles, long grey hair, my grandmother's hair. The third thing was a small wooden bird, hand-carved, about the size of a chicken egg, the kind of carving where you can tell someone made it themselves, but they were good at it. The wood was almost black, like the box itself. The fourth thing was a folded letter, yellowed paper, my grandma's handwriting on the front. It said, "Read this first." And the fifth thing was a small glass vial, stoppered with a cork, full of what looked like dirt. Just plain brown dirt, maybe the size of a pinky finger. I sat there looking at all of this for a long time. None of it was scary. It was like the contents of a memory box, the kind of stuff you might find in any old lady's house. A hairbrush, photos, a little keepsake. I almost laughed, because for a second I thought, oh, she just didn't want me to be sad. She didn't want me to look at her stuff and cry. That's why she made me promise not to open it. And then I picked up the letter, and I opened it, and I started reading. Oh, here we go. The letter. The letter is going to ruin his day. You can already tell. The letter is going to ruin his day. The letter said this. I'm going to read it, word for word, because I have it memorized at this point. I read it so many times. It said, "My dearest one, if you're reading this, you broke your promise. I'm not angry. I knew you would. Almost all of us do. I broke mine too. My mother's mother kept her box for 63 years without opening it, and I always thought she was the strongest of us. I don't know what the rest of us were. Weaker, maybe, or just more tired. By the time you read this, you have probably noticed things. Small things at first. Things moving when you weren't looking. A reflection that didn't behave. Dreams of me. Maybe a feeling. When you walked past a doorway, that something on the other side was watching you. Those things will get worse now that the box is open. I am sorry. I am so sorry. If I could have warned you in person without making it worse, I would have. But the rules are very particular. I could not tell you while I was alive. I could only tell you to leave it closed. I am going to tell you everything now. Please read all of it. Please. Our family has carried something for a very long time. I don't know how long. My mother told me 5 generations, but my grandmother told me 8, and the truth is, no one really knows. It started somewhere. It started with someone. It does not matter who anymore. What matters is that it is here, and that it has been with us, and that it cannot be gotten rid of. It can only be carried. The thing in our family is not a ghost. It is not a demon exactly, though I suppose people who saw such things in the old days would have called it that. It is something older than those words. The closest thing I can compare it to is a debt that has been passed down our line. It cannot be paid off. It can only be held. The box you are holding contains 5 anchors, 5 things from 5 generations. The photos are of me. The hair is mine. The bird was carved by my grandmother. The dirt is from the place where it first came to us. The letter is, well, the letter is the only thing in the box that changes. The only thing that... What? The letter changes. What does that mean? What? What does that mean? I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just listen. As long as the box is closed, the anchors hold the thing in place. It is, for lack of a better word, attached to them. As long as they are together, sealed in the dark, it cannot fully see us. It can sense us. It can dream of us, but it cannot find us. As long as the box stays closed. You have opened the box. The anchors are exposed. The thing can see you now. My darling, I am so sorry. There is no way to undo this. Once a box is opened, it cannot be resealed. The anchors lose their power. You will need to make a new box with new anchors in a new place and start over. I will tell you how, but you should know what is coming first. For the next 40 days, the thing will come closer. It will not hurt you. Not at first. It cannot. It is bound by old rules. It will show itself in small ways. Reflections, footsteps, the corner of your eye. It is testing the walls. It is finding the cracks. By the end of the 40 days, it will be fully present. It will sit in your house with you. It will eat at your table. It will watch you sleep. And on the 40th night, it will speak to you. It will offer you a trade. You must not accept the trade. Whatever it offers, whatever it promises, whatever it threatens, you must not accept the trade. Do you understand me, baby? You must not accept the trade. That is the most important sentence in this letter. I stopped reading. I had to stop reading. My hands were shaking. I put the letter down on the floor. Yeah, I would have stopped reading too. This is the point at which I hand the letter to somebody else and say, you read this, I can't. I sat there for like 10 minutes, just trying to breathe. And then I picked the letter back up and I kept going. Because what else was I going to do? The letter went on. It told me how to make the new box. The wood had to be a certain kind. Black walnut or rosewood, sourced from a tree that died of natural causes, not cut down. The lining had to be red wool, dyed with cochineal, which is like a kind of beetle dye, like a really old natural dye. The carvings on the lid had to be done by hand, by me, even if I wasn't good at it. The carvings were a specific pattern, and she'd drawn the pattern at the bottom of the letter. Looked like a sort of woven knot with 5 points. The anchors had to be 5 things from me. A photo, hair, something I'd made with my own hands, dirt from a place that was important to me, and a letter written by me to whoever would inherit the box from me, which, the letter said, would be a child or a niece or a nephew or someone in the family I trusted enough to pass it to. And I had to do all of this and seal the new box before the 40th night. If I didn't, the letter said, the thing would attach itself to me directly, with no box, with no anchors, with no way to pass it down. It would just be on me, for the rest of my life. The letter ended with, I love you so much. I'm so sorry I didn't have the strength to break the chain. Maybe you will. Try if you can. But if you can't, do what I did. Carry it. Pass it. The next one will try too. I love you. I love you. I love you. Grandma. I sat on the floor for a long time. I don't remember crying, but my face was wet when I finally stood up. I had pins and needles in both legs. I'd been sitting cross-legged for, I don't know, an hour. More? I closed the box. I latched it. I took it back to the guest bedroom closet and I put it on the top shelf behind the quilts where it had been. I knew, even as I did it, that closing the box now wasn't going to undo anything. The letter had been very clear. Once a box is opened, it cannot be resealed. But I closed it anyway. Because what else was I going to do? Yeah, no, I would have closed it too. Like, you want to believe that there's a chance, you know? You want to believe that maybe it'll work. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe closing it again does something. But yeah, no, this guy is, he's in for it now. That night, I sat on the couch with all the lights on and I made a list. I'm a list person. I make lists when I'm stressed. It's a coping mechanism. So I made a list. I called it Things to Do Before the 40th Night. And I wrote out everything the letter had told me to do. Find the right wood, get the right dye, learn to carve, take a photo of myself, cut some of my own hair, get dirt from somewhere meaningful, write a letter to whoever was going to come after me, build the box, seal the box, hide the box. I had 39 days. I went to bed at around 4 in the morning. I left every light in the house on. I fell asleep on the couch with my phone in my hand. I had my hand resting on the kitchen knife, which I'd been carrying around like an absolute idiot. I dreamed of Grandma. She was in the recliner. Her back was to me. She was humming. And this time, when I said, Grandma, she turned around. It was her face, but her eyes were wrong. I won't try to describe it. I don't have the words. They were her eyes, but they were also somebody else's eyes, somewhere very far behind hers. Like there was a long hallway behind her face, and someone at the end of the hallway was looking out at me through her. She smiled at me, and she said, "Hello, baby. We've been waiting for you." I woke up. The sun was up. The lights were still on. The TV was still on, low. Everything was normal. Except the kitchen knife wasn't on the couch next to me anymore. It was on the floor across the room, stuck blade first into the hardwood. Bro, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. How is he? How is he still in this house? How? At what point do you just go, you know what, the family curse can have me. I'm sleeping at a Holiday Inn for the rest of my life. The thing about the letter was, it said the new box had to be made before the 40th night. It didn't say where I had to be when I made it. So, in theory, I could have gone anywhere. I could have gone to a hotel. I could have gone to a friend's place. I could have gotten on a plane and flown to Iceland. But, and this is going to sound stupid, I felt like I owed it to her to do it in the house. The house she'd carried it in for, 50 years, 60. She'd protected me from this thing my whole life. She'd done it in this house. If I was going to do my part, I was going to do it here. So I stayed. Day 2 of the 40. I went to the hardware store, I went to the craft store, I went to a specialty woodworking shop about an hour away. I came home with a block of black walnut, a set of carving tools I had no idea how to use, a small bottle of cochineal-based fabric dye, a yard of red wool, and a little book on basic wood carving for beginners. The whole thing cost me almost $300. I put it on a credit card. I figured if I died from a generational curse, I wouldn't be paying it off anyway. Yeah, that's a real ghost about to kill me. Might as well max out the card. Kind of mood, exactly. I set up a little workspace in the dining room. I'd never carved anything in my life. I was a graphic design major. The closest I'd ever come to working with my hands was like making a clay coil pot in 4th grade. So I sat down with the book and I just started practicing on a scrap piece of pine. I wasted a whole afternoon getting the hang of holding the chisel without slicing my thumb open. I cut myself twice, anyway. That night, when I went to bed, the bedroom door was closed. I always slept with it open. I always slept with all the doors open in the house, so I could hear if anything moved. I opened the door, I looked at it for a long time. Then I just left it open and went to sleep. In the morning, the door was closed again. Day 3. I went into the bathroom to shower, and the towel I'd thrown over the mirror was on the floor. I picked it up. I put it back. I didn't look in the mirror. Day 4. I was making coffee in the kitchen, and I heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, deliberate footsteps, walking from the guest bedroom to the top of the stairs, and then stopping. I stood very still. I didn't breathe. After a long time, the footsteps walked back to the guest bedroom and stopped. I drank my coffee. My hand was shaking so bad, I spilled it on the counter. Day 5. The dreams started getting more detailed. Grandma in the recliner, but the recliner was in the wrong room. Or Grandma in the kitchen, but the kitchen had no windows. Or Grandma standing at the foot of my bed, just standing there smiling with her wrong eyes. Day 6. I finished a practice carving. It was bad. It was really bad. It was supposed to be a simple knot pattern, like the one in the letter, and it looked like a child had done it. I cried about it, not because the carving was bad, because the carving was bad, and Grandma had told me it had to be done by my own hand. And what if my own hand wasn't good enough? Day 7. I started hearing humming. It was always faint, always coming from another room, always the song Grandma used to hum while she did dishes. The first time I heard it, I was so happy. I almost ran to the kitchen because some part of my brain, some little hopeful idiot part, thought maybe she was here. Like, really here. Like she'd come back to help me. She wasn't in the kitchen. The kitchen was empty. The humming was coming from the closet under the stairs. Yeah. See? That's what gets you. That's what gets you. Because that thing wants you to think it's her. It's mimicking her. It's wearing her like a coat. That's the worst part of all of this. I think you're right about that. I think that's exactly what was happening. I think it had spent a lot of time in the box with her stuff, with her hair and her photos, and it had learned her, and now it was trying her on. By day 10, the humming was a constant thing. It was always there, in one room or another. Sometimes in the walls, sometimes in the air vents, sometimes, I swear to God, sometimes from inside my own ear. By day 12, I'd seen it for the first time, out of the corner of my eye, standing at the end of the upstairs hallway. Tall, very tall, too tall for the ceiling, actually. Its head was kind of bent over against the corner where the wall met the ceiling. I only saw it for a second. When I turned to look directly, it was gone. It looked vaguely like a person, but long, like a person who had been stretched. By day 15, I was making real progress on the box. I'd done the basic shape. I'd hollowed out the inside. I'd lined it with the red wool, which I had to dye myself because the dye I'd bought was the wrong shade of red. I'd done 2 rough drafts of the carving on the lid, and I'd thrown them both out. I was on the 3rd draft, and it was getting there. It wasn't beautiful, but it was mine. I'd taken a photo of myself, just a regular selfie, on my phone, that I printed out at the CVS. I'd cut a lock of my own hair with kitchen scissors. I'd written the first draft of my letter, addressed to whoever you are. Because I didn't have anyone in mind yet. I'd thought about my mum's other sister's kids, my cousins, but I hadn't seen them in years, and it felt cruel to drop this on them. I left the recipient blank for now. The dirt was the part I hadn't done yet. The letter had said it had to be from a place that was important to me. I had a lot of options. The yard of Grandma's house, the little park where I used to play as a kid, my old elementary school. But none of them felt right. None of them felt like the place. So I kept putting it off. By day 20, the thing was no longer just at the end of hallways. It was in rooms with me, sitting in the recliner, standing at the kitchen counter, lying on the bed when I came in to get my pillow. It never moved when I looked at it. It just was. And then I'd blink or look away, and it would be gone or somewhere else. It hadn't spoken to me yet. The letter said it would speak on the 40th night, so I had time. But it was getting bolder. It was filling up the house. Day 25. I woke up in the middle of the night and it was sitting on the edge of my bed. I didn't move. I didn't open my eyes all the way. I watched it through my eyelashes. It was facing away from me. Its back was hunched. It was breathing slow, deep breaths, or imitating breathing. Whatever it was doing. After a few minutes, it turned its head, very slowly, and looked at me. Its face was Grandma's face, with Grandma's wrong eyes. It said, very softly, "It's not too late, baby. We can talk about it whenever you want. We don't have to wait." I closed my eyes. I pretended to be asleep. After a long time, I felt the bed shift, and it was gone. Yeah, I would have just had a heart attack. I would have just died, right there in the bed. Like, that's the kind of thing where your heart just gives up. Your heart just goes, you know what, you've had a good run. I was so close to giving up. So close. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The next morning, I sat at the dining room table with the half-finished box in front of me, and I thought about just stopping, just letting the 40th night come, hearing what the trade was, maybe taking it. Like, what could be worse than this? What could be worse than living with this thing in the house? But then I thought about Grandma, and I thought about her mother, and her mother's mother, all the way back, all those women who had carried it, who had not taken the trade. Whatever the trade was, it had been bad enough that not a single one of them had taken it for, what, 8 generations? More. I went back to work on the box. Day 28. I figured out the dirt. I was going through Grandma's papers in the den. I was looking for something else, I don't even remember what. And I found this little handmade book. Not a real book, just like a stapled together set of pages. It was a kind of journal. Her handwriting. Sketchy. In pencil. Not dated. It was her account of when she'd opened the box. When she'd been in my position. 40 days. Just like me. The dreams. The humming. The figure in the hallway. All of it. Almost beat for beat. She wrote about her grandmother. Her grandmother had told her before she died that the dirt should come from the place you would go if you had nowhere else to go. She wrote about how she'd thought about that for weeks, how she'd been about to use dirt from her own childhood home and then changed her mind at the last second. And then she wrote where she'd gotten her dirt from. She'd gotten it from her grandmother's grave. Oh, that's actually really sweet in a horrible way. Yeah. The place I would go if I had nowhere else to go. That's where I'd want. That's where I'd go to, like, lay down and cry. Yeah. That hit me. That hit me hard. I drove to the cemetery the next morning. Day 29. The cemetery was about 20 minutes out of town. It was a beautiful day, actually. Sunny. Cool. The kind of fall day that almost makes you forget anything bad is happening. Grandma's grave was new, the dirt on it was still, fresh looking. I knelt down. I had a little glass jar with me, the kind you get little jam samples in at fancy restaurants. I scooped dirt into it. I stoppered it. I sat there for a while. I told her I was doing it. I told her I was sorry. I told her I loved her. I told her I'd carry it. I'd carry it just like she did. And maybe I'd find a way to break it. And maybe I wouldn't. But either way, I wasn't going to take the trade. I drove home. The house was different when I got back. The air was thicker. The humming was louder. The thing was in the kitchen, sitting at the table. When I walked in the front door, with Grandma's face, with Grandma's eyes, smiling at me, it said, where have you been, baby? I walked past it. I went upstairs. I worked on the box. Day 30. I finished the carving on the lid. It wasn't perfect, it was. It was kind of rough, but it was the knot with the 5 points and you could tell what it was supposed to be. It was mine. I'd done it with my own hands, like she said. Day 31. I started assembling. I put the photo in, I put the lock of my hair in, I put the dirt in, I put the carving I'd done as a practice piece in, the one of the bird that I'd actually finished and was kind of okay. That was my thing made by my own hand. I put the letter in. The letter I'd rewritten. I addressed it to my child, or my child's child, or whoever finds this. I wrote, "I'm sorry, I tried. Maybe you'll do better. I love you. I love you. I love you." I closed the box. I latched it. Day 32 through 38. I worked on the seal. The letter had described a sealing ritual. It wasn't black magic or anything. It was just a thing you had to do. Salt around the box. A specific kind of wax around the latch. Words in an old language that Grandma had written out phonetically for me. I didn't know what the words meant. I just said them. The thing was in the house the whole time. It was always in the next room. I could feel it. I could hear it humming. Sometimes it was Grandma. Sometimes it was me. It had started imitating my voice too. In the last week, I'd hear myself humming from the kitchen when I was upstairs. I'd hear myself laughing from the bathroom when I was in the bedroom. Day 39. The seal was done. The box was closed. The box was real. It was a real, complete, sealed box. I held it in my hands and I almost cried. I'd done it. I'd actually done it. I'd built a new container for the thing. Now I just had to survive one more night. The 40th night. I just had to not take the trade. Yeah, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Like, you can build the box. That's the easy part. The hard part is sitting across from this thing for an entire night and not giving in. That night, I sat on the couch with all the lights on. I had the new box on the coffee table in front of me. I had Grandma's old box, the one I'd opened, sitting next to it, empty now. The anchors had been moved into the new box. Well, my new anchors had. Grandma's were still in the old box. Useless now, I guess, but I didn't know what else to do with them. I waited. The thing came down the stairs at, 11 o'clock? Midnight. Time had gotten weird. It came down the stairs slowly, one at a time. I could hear each step creak. It came into the living room. It sat down in Grandma's recliner. It looked like Grandma. It looked exactly like Grandma. The eyes were even right tonight. The eyes weren't wrong. It looked exactly like her. It said, "Hello, sweetheart." I didn't say anything. It said, "You did good work on the box. I'm proud of you." Really, I am. It came out beautiful. I said, "You're not her." It said, "I know I'm not. I know that. But I have her in here. I have all of her in here. Everything she was. Every memory. Everything she ever loved. She's not gone, baby. Not really. She's with me." I said, "What do you want?" It smiled. Not Grandma's smile. Something close to Grandma's smile, but not quite. It said, "I want what I always want. I want to make a trade." Here it comes. Oh, here it comes. Here we go. The trade. It said, "You don't have to carry me. You don't have to pass me down. I'm tired, baby. I've been with this family for so long, so long. You don't even know how long. I'm tired of it too. I'll go. All you have to do," it said, "is give me one thing. A small thing. A name. Just give me one name. Anyone. A friend, a co-worker. Someone you don't even like that much. Anyone. Give me their name, and I'll go. I'll leave your family. I'll leave you. I'll leave forever." I said, "You'll go to them." It said, "Yes." I said, "And you'll do this to them." It said, "Yes, but not your family. Not anymore. You'd be free. You'd be the one who broke the chain. Your grandmother always wanted that for you. Don't you want that?" Bro, that is sinister. That is sinister because it would work, like on a lot of people. That would work. Like you sit there and you think about all the people you don't even like that much, and you'd be saving your whole family forever, and you just have to throw like your annoying coworker under the bus. Like that's evil people would take that deal in a second. It would work. The letter, my grandma's letter, said the trade was always different, but it always boiled down to the same thing. Hurt one person you don't really know and save yourself and save your family, and every one of us for 8 generations had said no. I sat there for a long time. The thing waited. It was patient. It had all night. I thought about it. I'm going to be honest, I thought about it. I thought about people I didn't like. I thought about that one professor in college who'd been a real jerk. I thought about an ex who cheated on me. I thought about the guy who'd cut me off in traffic on my way home from the cemetery. But I kept thinking about my grandmother. The look on her face when she'd handed me the key. Don't open it, ever. She'd known I would. She'd known. And she'd still loved me. She'd still tried. I said, "No." The thing tilted its head. It said, "Are you sure, baby?" I said, "I'm sure. Get out of my house." It said, "You can't kick me out. You opened the box. I'm in. I'm in for life." I said, "I made a new box." It looked at the new box on the coffee table. It looked at it for a long time. And slowly, the smile faded off its face, off Grandma's face. The eyes went wrong again. They went deep and far away, like something looking out from the end of a long hallway. It stood up, slowly. It was tall, so tall its head hit the ceiling. It was hunched over in the living room, looking down at me. It said, "You think this is over?" I said, "I know it's not, but you're going in the box." It walked toward me, slowly, deliberately, one step at a time. I picked up the new box. I unlatched it. I opened the lid. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really remember what happened next. I don't remember it the way you remember normal things. I remember a sound, a long, dragging sound, like wet rope being pulled across stone. I remember my whole body getting cold. I remember the room getting very, very dark, even with all the lights on. I remember Grandma's face being right in front of mine, except it wasn't Grandma's face anymore. It was a face that was trying to be Grandma's face, and failing, and the eyes were wrong, and the mouth was wrong, and the whole thing was just wrong. And then I remember closing the lid, latching it, sealing it. The lights came back on. I was sitting on the couch. The new box was on the coffee table, and in front of me, closed, latched, sealed. The house was quiet. The humming was gone. Holy, holy, he did it. He actually did it. He sealed it. He sealed it. I sat there for I don't know how long. I waited for it to come back, for the humming to start again, for the footsteps, for something, anything. Nothing came. I went upstairs. I uncovered the bathroom mirror. I looked at myself. My reflection moved when I moved. We made eye contact. It blinked when I blinked. I stood there and I cried for a long time. For the next week, I waited. I waited for the thing to come back. I told myself it was a trick. I told myself it had only pretended to go in the box. I told myself I was an idiot for thinking it was over. I checked the box every hour for the first 3 days. The seal was holding. By day 45, I started to believe it. The house felt empty in the way that an empty house is supposed to feel empty. Just me, just rooms, just air. By day 50, I sold the house. I couldn't keep living there. Even if the thing was in the box, even if the box was sealed, I couldn't. I sold the house and I moved back to my apartment. I took the box with me, the new box. I left Grandma's old empty box in the closet under the stairs because I felt like that was where it belonged. Whoever bought the house, they got an old empty box for free. The new box, I keep on a shelf in my closet. I don't open it. I never will. I've made a will. The box goes to my niece, my mom's sister's daughter, who is 2 years old right now. The will has very specific instructions about it. It has a copy of my letter. It has a copy of Grandma's letter. It tells whoever has to give it to her, my mum or my aunt or whoever's still alive, to make her promise not to open it. She'll open it anyway. Almost all of us do. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's really tough. Like you sit with this thing for the rest of your life, knowing that some kid in your family is gonna get it. Eventually. And you just hope they're stronger than you were. That's the thing, right? That's the whole thing. None of us were strong enough not to open it. But all of us, all 8 or however many generations, were strong enough not to take the trade. So maybe that's a kind of strength. Maybe that's what we pass down, not the curse. The strength. The strength to not give it to somebody else. That's what I tell myself. Anyway, I'm posting this here because, I don't know, because I needed to tell somebody. Because Grandma told me her story in a journal she hid in a drawer, and her grandmother probably told her in some other way. And maybe if I post it on the internet, somebody else who has a box on a shelf will think twice before they open it. Don't open it if you have a box like this in your family. If your grandma or your great aunt or your weird uncle handed you a box and told you not to open it, just don't. Whatever curiosity you have about what's inside, it is not worth what comes after. If you've already opened it, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The letter inside knows what to do. Read it. Read all of it. Build the new box. Don't take the trade. I love you. Whoever you are, I love you. I love you. I love you. All right, guys. That's the story. That one shook me up. Like, I read that one at like 2 in the morning the first time, and I had to get up and turn all the lights on in my house, which is, you know, a normal grown adult response. Let me know what you guys thought of that one in the comments. I genuinely want to know if anybody else has, like, a weird family heirloom situation. Like, drop it in the comments. I bet we'd get some interesting responses to that. Yeah. No, I have a great aunt that gave me a really weird, like, jewelry box one time. I'm gonna go throw that away as soon as we're done filming. Yeah, you might want to do that. Don't open it on camera, please. Don't put us all in danger. All right. Speaking of curses, I think I've cursed myself by mining for this long without finding any diamonds, so I'm gonna take a break, and we're gonna go to the next story. This one's a little lighter. This one's an AITA. Don't worry. We're not gonna do scary stories all the way through. We're gonna mix it up. Okay, guys? Bye-bye. Take care. Peace.